Welcome to AkronHipHop.com, where we paint positive images of our people every day of the week, 365, 24/7. My name is Deborah Calhoun. I teach at Kent State University in the Department of Pan-African Studies. Hey, Brother Hiram, how are you today?
I am doing okay. How are you doing today?
Hey, living in your lane.
Hey, listen, I'm living in your lane. I'm trying to be in your vein of study.
Yes.
You bring some dynamic studies
Yes.
to us. Tell everybody what we're doing today.
We are moving along the tracks of building our Black history, African history library. And remember, the goal of this is to assemble books that are key to the discipline, and more importantly, things that we can share with our family and friends, because we know that each one teaches one every single day. Today on our journey, we're talking about another classic, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro. Classic text written in 1875. And what is so important about Dr. Woodson is that he was one of the few to criticize the American education system. He understood through his experience as a slave and coming out of that and becoming what he called autodidactic, that is, teaching himself and trying to be independent in all ways and means, that the education system in this country does nothing but cultivate, create, imbue, indoctrinate the African personality and mindset to be that of almost as a slave. Because when you can control a man's thinking, a woman's thinking, you control the person. And in his text, The Miseducation of the Negro, he talks about one of the most important books that challenges status quo standard education. He shows us the weakness in American education pedagogy. He helps us understand that the process and role of education is to reinforce itself, not to create independent thinking men and women, but to keep us at a level that is that as of a slave. He spent most of his time at Howard University, where he was in the College of Arts and Sciences, and he would later go on to create journals that studied nothing but African history. The thesis of his book is that we are being culturally indoctrinated, socially indoctrinated, and this causes Black folks to be independent. Now, we're talking 1875, which was right after Emancipation Proclamation, 1863, but this is the first 10, 15 so years in freedom. And there was no schooling, remember, for African people. It was against the law during slavery to teach Black men and women and children to read and write. So to acquire education is something that was coveted, was desired, but the American education system did nothing but keep us at a level of that of sheep. Not being independent, but rather being followers and not independent thinkers. He reminds us that we need to be independent in all things, in thought, in action, and deed. He gives us the excellent story that even when the Black man can use the front door, because of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, he or she will continue to seek out the back door, because that's what they've been ingrained, that they're no better than to come into the back door. He reminds us that education should be for liberation. Education should be for action. Education should be for improvement of the community. And that when we acquire that ability to be independent thinkers, we will then grow as a people. Now, this text is, again, like I said, a classic written in 1875, an awesome opportunity for Africans to grow. He comes up during the generation of Ida B. Wells Barnett, who was also, we know, an advocate of education and an advocate of ending lynching in this country. So they were contemporaries of each other. And both, I think, pushed the idea of education by any and all means. This is not everything that is in the text, but it is just some of the highlights of that text that I think, again, Do for Self is something that Marcus Garvey would pick up. This is something the Nation of Islam would later pick up. This is something later that the Black Panthers would pick up. So he sets the tone and starts the legacy of us thinking and acting for ourselves, speaking and acting for ourselves. So that is Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro. Pick it up, an easy read. You can buzz through this in probably 2 days, I would guess, at the maximum. My name is Deborah Calhoun. Thank you for listening. And I want to remind you, if you're watching this video on YouTube, remember to share, share, share. Remember also on Facebook, remember to pass it on, share, pass it on, share. Each one, teach one, keep it going, keep it going. Thank you. Of course, check out AkronHipHop.com because that is the medium through which you get all this information education for free. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.